Put it exactly correctly. Our objective for the president is to make certain that this was a fair and an honest election.
There has been a lot for the American public to digest in terms of what's going on.
It has.
And I know that you've been very busy in Pennsylvania, but you've also been working in a number of other states. So I'm hoping perhaps you could catch us up on what's going on in the states that you're heavily focused on right now. What's the latest?
Well, let me give you a consistent allegation that runs right through almost all of them. Each state set up a very, very strict observation process because these ballots are easily prone to fraud. There's only one time you can check them, and it's when you separate the ballot from the envelope. So in each state, it was required that when that was done, there'd be an observer from all sides, including a Republican observer. And if you didn't do that, the ballot was unlawful. Well, I can tell you uniformly, in 10 different places, we were excluded from that process. In Pennsylvania, 623,000 ballots were entered without a Republican getting a chance to see whether the mail-in ballot was valid. In Detroit, Michigan, it's even worse.
Fox News called the state of Arizona pretty early on. A number of other networks came out Thursday and called Arizona for Joe Biden as well. My question to you, if you can shed any light on it, but is the state of Arizona in the rearview mirror now for the Trump campaign?
Networks call an election that has no significance at all. The decision on who won an election in a state is up to the state legislature. And Arizona is a state in which we have considerably more fraud complaints than the number by which Biden won it, which was very narrow. So we're looking into Arizona right now. But I anticipate that we'll have a fraud case in Arizona that will be as strong or stronger than the ones in Michigan and in Pennsylvania. Unfortunately, your networks make it seem as if when they call a state, it's official. Well, it isn't. It has no legal significance at all. Nor would the networks know how many illegal ballots there are. And finally, even when we find the illegal ballots, the networks don't cover it because the networks have become a part of the Democratic Party. They're like the news arm of the Democratic Party. They've imposed a censorship since the Hunter Biden hard drive proved so many crimes on the part of Biden that they've shut down any kind of reporting in the news.
I don't know if you saw Karl Rove. He had an op-ed for the Wall Street Journal where he said, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, the president is 100% within his rights to challenge the fairness of the election, though the possibility of overturning the results are incredibly slim. To win, Trump must prove systemic fraud with illegal votes in the tens of thousands. Mr. Mayor, is there enough time to do that?
There's both enough time, and we can more than meet that standard. The number of votes that were illegal and fraudulent is considerably more than tens of thousands. We already have tens of thousands just in Pennsylvania alone. We have tens of thousands in Michigan alone. By the time we're finished, it's going to be way beyond the standard that Carl set. It is systemic fraud. There's no way that everybody woke up, every crooked Democratic leader woke up on the morning of the election and decided to exclude Republicans. They never did that before. That had to be decided at some central place. And number two, it happened in enough states so that it's systemic. And number three, it amounts to way over hundreds of thousands of ballots.
Well, Mr. Mayor, we really appreciate your time, appreciate your work and sharing your knowledge with us. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
Well, the president takes aim at Dominion voting systems once again after learning the technology was used in Arizona. Well, Friday, President Trump commented on Arizona election officials using the system, saying it may be the reason the race was closer than polls predicted. His comments come after the made claims that Dominion deleted a lot of votes originally cast for him or switched those votes to Joe Biden. Since the election, the president's campaign has mounted legal challenges in the Grand Canyon state to demand an investigation into allegations of fraud. And President Trump once again says his campaign has won the state of Pennsylvania. Well, in a tweet Friday, the president said 700,000 ballots in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh were not allowed to be viewed. In addition, he said, quote, "Based on our great Constitution, we win the state." The Trump campaign also won a recent case disqualifying mail-in ballots of residents who failed to confirm their identification by November 9th. And Project Veritas obtains a recording of an anonymous Pennsylvania postal worker claiming that higher-ups ordered him and others to discard pro-Trump and pro-Republican mail and only deliver pro-Biden mail from now on. One America's John Hines reports.
Some news here involving Project Veritas. Activist James O'Keefe, your boss, alleges a second U.S. postal worker has come forward with evidence of misconduct in Pennsylvania. And what seems to be going on, sir?
Well, this is another Pennsylvania postal worker, a mail carrier in Elkins Park, Pennsylvania. And what he told James O'Keefe is that his customer service supervisor, a man named Walter Lee, instructed the mail carriers that Trump-related bulk mail would no longer be treated as first-class mail, but the winner's mail, that's mail associated with former Vice President Joe Biden, would continue to be treated as first-class mail.
The only political mail that will be delivered from now on will be that of the winner. In this case, Joe Biden. Other political mail from other sources and senders would be put into the undeliverable bulk business mail bin, or EBM.
Why did Walter Lee instruct postal workers to discard Trump and Republican mail as undeliverable?
I'm not sure if that came from higher up.
Did Walter Lee tell you to keep delivering Biden mail?
Political mail for Biden was to be continued to be treated as first class and delivered the day it was received.
What happens to the undeliverable bulk business mail?
I believe it goes back to the plan, but undeliverable bulk business mail is essentially it's a step away from the market.
Yeah, I just want to make the point, John, that during the campaign season, all campaign bulk mail is treated as first class. And so after the election, all political mail then reverts to bulk mail or whatever postage was paid. However, in this case, the supervisor told the mail carriers that the Trump mail would revert to its bulk mail status and that the Biden mail would continue to be treated as first class mail because Biden was the winner, John.
So this appears to be a situation where a postal office supervisor is treating mail for candidate Trump, the president, who seeks re-election, differently from Joe Biden. He's saying Joe Biden has been elected, therefore his mail should be treated differently. Does this, do you reckon, violate any sort of rules of conduct or norms of procedure from the U.S. Postal Service?
Well, I think anytime you have a government agency or a government official picking winners or losers, whether that's in the post office or a presidential election or in the economy, it's an issue. Here, of course, the issue is that the state of Pennsylvania is still very much a contested state in the presidential election. What happened to us right in front of us is a post office supervisor in Elkins Park, Pennsylvania, who told mail carriers that one candidate's mail would be treated as bulk and one candidate's mail would be treated as first class based on his decision that Joe Biden is the winner. And Pennsylvania is very much a contested state, and it is not the position of a post office supervisor to decide who the next president is or is not, John.
Neil W. McCabe, who is Communications Director and spokesperson for Project Veritas, thank you for talking to us on One America News, sir.
Thanks for having me on, John.
Well, you are looking at the latest, most up-to-date tally of electoral votes in the 2020 presidential race. We here at One America News